seat taken?
Nobody's in the seat, then I ain't taking, son.
So this is, Sabacc?
Sabacc.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of Sabacc the Block. We are back in the house. Emma Fyffe is here. What is up, Emma?
Hello, Ace. What is up? Man, so much. It is a crazy week for me. Lots of stuff going on. I voted yesterday.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone did, right? I feel like everyone's doing it these past few days.
Yeah. I mean, this year, there's a really big push for people to vote early, which I highly encourage, especially because a lot of people are going to be voting by mail for the very first time. I had never voted by mail before. I've always just gone in person to my polling place. Actually, that's not true. I did absentee ballots when I was on the road with Missoula Children's Theater, and also when I was in college in Virginia, but still technically a resident of the state of Connecticut. Yeah, it had been I mean, again, like that would have been 2004 and 2008. So it's been so long since I've like filled out a paper ballot, and I was very stressed. I was like, what if I do this wrong? But at the same time, it was nice to be able to like be in my home and be going over my notes about, you know, some of the local elections and things, which are really just as important. If you're feeling unenthused by sort of elections on a federal level, just remember that your vote counts on a local level as well. So, yeah.
There you go. Round of applause. RB3's in the house. Obviously, we had a few hiccups when it came to going live, but we are live now.
Hey, we got it. We did it.
But we are here to talk about one special thing, and that is Baby Yoda. But no, for real though, we are talking about the new Mandalorian teaser that came out last night on Monday Night Football that premiered. Emma, there wasn't a lot of new footage in the trailer. It was still a fun, hype trailer, but it was kind of, I don't know, it's just like a reminder that this is coming out.
Yeah. Okay. My feeling about the teaser that they showed last night was, as you say, it was a very good hype trailer. And I feel like it did a nice job of conveying like tonally where the show is going to be going this season. But in terms of actually revealing more plot or really strongly teasing certain characters from other Star Wars canon who we know are meant to appear in this season of The Mandalorian, it didn't really do that. But it gave me a great vibe. It gave me a great like space adventure vibe, lots of different aliens, and generally encompassed what I really love about The Mandalorian is the fact that it is just kind of this just Star Wars adventure. It doesn't feel too heavily steeped in its own lore at this point, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, I mean, it didn't add anything. I'm gonna watch the show one way or another. So
you know what stood out to me? It wasn't any image. It was a line, and I tweeted it out last night. It was, if I can locate other Mandalorians, they can guide me. And as soon as I heard that, I kind of lost it. Obviously, I lose it in any Star Wars trailer, but I really lost it specifically because I felt like, oh, what if the Mandalorian is on a mission, and part of his mission is looking for other Mandalorians, as in Bo-Katan, as in Sabine Wren. What? Sabine? I was like, you mean Sabine, right? What did you think of that? Because that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, oh, what if we meet like Mandalorians that we know from animated series?
Listen, when I heard that line, I thought, hey, Mandalorian, way to miss out on an opportunity to make Pencils and Parsecs, the well-known, beloved Star Wars RPG produced by Hyper RPG between the years of 2017 and 2018 canon. No, I mean a little bit, yes, but yeah, I mean, we had a long discussion last week about the fact that I do think that there is space within this series to incorporate some other Mandalorian characters who we already know and love. And we know for sure that like Bo-Katan's supposed to be in it, so
Semi for sure.
Yeah. So why not Sabine also?
Why not Sabine? That's my motto in life. It's why not Sabine? We can always use more Sabine in our lives, but either way, I kind of want to get into little moments in the trailer. I have this in my notes because I always feel like it might be relevant just because we got a little bit of it in season 1. Is the planets. Any guesses or any speculation as far as like, are we going to see all new planets? Are we going to go to old planets? I've heard like rumors about Lethal.
I mean, Lethal would be kind of dope because again, that's a planet that we've only seen animated, not in real life. I mean, I want to go to Mandalore. I want to know what happened there. I feel like that's probably not season 2 material, but I want to know.
It should be season 2 material.
Yeah. That might be a little beyond, but where else do I think?
There's that icy planet that keeps coming up in the trailer.
Yes, and it's a question then of like, is this an icy or a salty planet? As the case may be that we've already been to or no. Is it like a Hoth or is it a oh God, why am I blanking on the name of the planet in Last Jedi? You know the one I'm talking about with the foxes. Crate. Thank you. I was like, it's named after like an object. I mean, I'm trying to think if there are any, I would love to maybe like check in with Takodana at some point, like see if we get a little allusion to some Maz Kanata action.
I'd be down for that. I would totally be down for that. I was thinking of, I would love to see, obviously you said Mandalore, Lethal would be awesome. There's so many potential planets that we could possibly see in this show that I just think that's one of the most exciting parts of it. But either way, any final thoughts on this teaser trailer before we move on to the green side up, Emma?
Baby Yoda, still real cute.
Baby Yoda. And the way he held him, I tweeted it out, but the way he held him, everyone's losing their minds because he held him almost like, I don't know, it was the craziest, like most gangster thing I've ever seen. It really was like a gangster dad holding his little baby where he's just strolling up, like walking up and holding Baby Yoda on his side. I don't know if you caught that in the trailer.
Oh, I did. I like the dynamic between the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda.
Yeah, they're definitely vibing with each other.
Yeah,
they're filling each other out. They like each other. They're chilling.
Yeah, and I know that ultimately, I think the story will be that, Din Djarin like has to pass on Baby Yoda to an enemy sorcerer or whatever it was that they sort of like referred to the Jedi as, being that that's what's best for the child so that like it can learn to harness its abilities and whatnot. But I think it's going to be a hard decision. I think he's going to have a hard time doing it.
I can't lie. Every time I listen to that and I hear that, I think of back to season 1, back when we were doing our Collider days on Jedi Council, Emma, and I said, midichlorians, what? And everyone lost their minds as far as like trying to cancel me. They were like, no, midichlorians is no. But I was like, hey, we could see a midichlorians comeback.
We could.
You never know. Harness the midichlorians.
Yeah, make midichlorians palatable again.
Yeah, make midichlorians cool again. But either way, guys, that is our thoughts on the Mandalorian teaser. Obviously, there wasn't a lot there. We could obviously speculate and talk about every image. We see the return of the homeboy that got captured in the very first episode in a slight image, but he's just back. I feel like
I'm just waiting to find out if Ming-Na Wen is really dead.
Ooh.
Because I don't think she is.
Okay.
I don't think she is. I think it would have been a waste of Ming-Na Wen.
That's true. I mean, it is true, regardless of the fact. But definitely see who that figure was at the end of season 1.
Yes.
Which obviously, it could literally only be like 1 or 2 people. But we will find out probably this season. Alrighty, guys, let's move on to the green Psylop, our main topic today.
If you'd only had this little green Psylop.
So our little green Psylop today is all about the High Republic, officially launching January 2021, which is so close, considering that we are reaching the end of the year. It is the year of COVID 2020, but 2021 will be the year of the High Republic, Star Wars, new era, new stories that are being told. Takes place 200 years before the Skywalker saga. You've read a little bit about this, Emma. I just want to hear your thoughts on it before I kind of dive into the specificities of it.
Well, my sort of general overarching thought, and I think that I talked about this when the concept of this was first brought up and we were still doing Collider Jedi Council. I know I talked about it on Ben as well, but I think this is a really smart move for Star Wars because Disney is given a lot of praise for how well they put the Marvel Cinematic Universe together, you know, across all the various films, spotlighting individual characters. They all came together in a cohesive way that was very satisfying. And even if you feel like, oh, you know, creatively, they didn't really take huge risks or anything like that, that's a completely fair feeling to have. But you can't deny that there is an incredible level of cohesion to those films. And also they are generally very positively received. Star Wars, not really in that same boat at the moment. As far as the films go, there's a lot of criticism and division as far as how people feel about how things were handled with Star Wars, particularly with the continuation sequel trilogy, which was in Disney's hands. The thing about the MCU is that they're drawing from such a rich history of stories and just scenarios that these characters have been in that already existed. And so they were just picking the pieces that would work together in order to support this film vision that, Kevin Feige had overall.
Yeah.
So I feel like what Star Wars is doing with the High Republic is basically setting themselves up to have this like rich pool of material to draw from, where you're establishing characters, with the exception of characters like, say, a Yoda, who I'm sure will show up in this because we know that over 900 years he has seen when he passes away in Return of the Jedi. But they're basically creating a new sort of like ground level to work on, and an area wherein they can take risks, because having some crazy new concept introduced in a novel isn't as expensive as trying to make it happen in a fantasy space film on screen, you know?
It is kind of an experiment, right? I mean, a very expensive experiment, but an experiment nonetheless, testing out new stories and new characters for people to fall in love with. But the fact is, it's happened before when it comes to Rebels, and when it comes to other examples of different Star Wars stories. I mean, Afra is another example. We talked about Afra last week.
Right.
But it's the idea of, let's discover a new era, a new time, a new period where we can learn about the Jedi slightly in the past, because it's not too far back. But at the same time, it's definitely something new. I want to dive into a little bit of the descriptions right here that I have pulled up. The High Republic obviously initially started as Project Luminous, which was basically a ton of Star Wars authors that just dived into any Star Wars world that they want to go into and what kind of stories that they wanted to tell. It says right here, the High Republic is set during the age of the Republic, set 200 years before the events of the Skywalker saga and 800 years after the fall of the Old Republic. In universe, the initiating event of the franchise is the Great Disaster, involving the antagonistic space Vikings known as the Nihil, and the subsequent intervention of the Jedi at the height of the power. I want to continue on because Pablo Hidalgo gives kind of the best quote, I think, and he says, the threat and tension really comes from the Republic's borders. The Republic does not extend from one side of the galaxy to the other. And then it continues on and he says, it's more of a Wild West or a new frontier that we see a new kind of Jedi patrol that area. So I see it as like there's the Jedi that are in the Republic and that are closer into the interior. And there's the Jedi who are patrolling the outside, who are a little bit more edgy, a little bit more maybe aggressive or lax, depending on which Jedi, which is kind of like the Wild Wild West out there. And that's why the Space Vikings, Nile, are the main antagonists. I don't know what you think of that.
Yeah, so I like this concept quite a lot. Again, that basically it feels to me like these are the Jedi kind of trying to figure out who they are and what their role is within sort of the overarching political system and whatnot of the galaxy as a whole. And they're not as like intricately and definitely worked into an established society like they are by the time we get to the prequel films. But I love Space Viking. I mean, I love Vikings in general. So if you want to like sort of mesh some Vikings and Norse mythology ideas into my Star Wars, I'm in.
It's interesting, right? Because I kind of like the quote that Hidalgo had based on the borders aspect, and how the Jedi kind of respond to that. I'm curious how they're going to, obviously there's only, it's a book, so it's not necessarily a visual portrayal, but how are they going to portray the Jedi in this time period, knowing what we know now as far as the Republic goes, and maybe they weren't necessarily the best of examples as far as what to do. Considering, I'm throwing this out here, and I haven't read a single anything about the High Republic. What if the Space Vikings are right?
100%.
But for real, like, what if they have a reason to say, hey, this image that you're portraying is a false image, and it's an image of over policing or over patrolling, because they said it's patrolling, and I was like, oh, patrolling. There are Green Lanterns.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I think that is almost certainly going to be something that is explored and isn't really the status quo as far as Star Wars goes. I love Star Wars, but by and large, the conflict in Star Wars is very good versus evil. It's very like good guys literally wear white against bad guys who are literally wearing black from head to toe, covering their face. So I really do like the idea of having more of a gray area as far as sort of the villains are concerned, and also having the people who are the quote unquote good guys having to confront that.
Yeah, it's the idea of, you're right. It definitely exemplifies what is evil, what is good. Although the original trilogy, I really do feel like does a good job to portray evil as over controlling, over security, over policing, and kind of this ideology that has been shown to be evil, which is this kind of fascist ideology. I mean, that's rebels are the good guys.
Quite literally what it's about. So
yeah, so it's like the good guys are essentially rebelling. The good guys are essentially fighting the rules.
Oh, totally.
It's meant to be broken.
It is a hopeful message, to be sure, but at the end of the day, it's very much a good versus evil kind of thing. As far as, say, Anakin Skywalker goes, and I think that they tried to make you understand why he went the way that he did in the prequels. I argue they didn't do a very good job of it, but the idea was there. And I think that Clone Wars does a really good job with the character of Anakin and you sort of understanding this idea of, okay, well, you know, he's right to kind of have problems with the way the Jedi handle everything. But I don't feel that overall Star Wars has like really successfully explored the idea of like, oh, these guys who are the bad guys, we really truly have sympathy for. Like, there's Emperor Palpatine does not have redeeming qualities. Like, he does not have redeeming qualities. He's just evil. And I'm sure that there are other people who may disagree with me on that. but you got to like really dig into some supplemental material if you want to find any shred of humanity to the character of Palpatine.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that here we're putting ourselves in a position wherein we can have villains who we get why they do what they do, even if they are very evil. I mean, I was absolute, and I'm sure there are people who are going to disagree with me on that, on this point, and that's completely fine. But I was blown away by the way the character of Thanos was handled in Avengers Infinity War, because that is a character who is very evil and stands to quite simply be portrayed as very mustache twirly and villainous. But I thought they'd actually did a pretty good job of making you have a little bit of sympathy for him.
Just that little bit.
Just that little bit where you're like, man, what you're doing is still terrible, but like, I get why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah. It was definitely, I don't know. I always like those portrayals because you can clearly tell they're sociopaths. Like Thanos is a sociopath, no doubt.
Totally.
But at the same time, the acting and the writing helps his portrayal a lot more. Yeah, I'm definitely curious because my thing is during this period, and I really do feel like Star Wars is emphasizing this. This isn't me just reaching. This are the Jedis where Jedis are kicking ass. Like these aren't the Jedis who are struggling and they're just kicking ass. Like they're just in the height of their power. So what happens when something threatens their power? Like maybe this is another example of Jedis between each other kind of questioning their own ideology. That's why I like the story of Ahsoka, right? Ahsoka's kind of the best example of what she can simplify inside the Jedi Order. Or even Qui-Gon Jinn is another perfect example of what the Jedis, he started to question authority, and his authority happened to be the Jedi Order. So what happens when the big ultimate power is the Jedi Order during this period? So I think it's going to be really exciting. I'm super looking forward to it. I kind of want to do a quick little character breakdown. RB3, I'm sorry. I apologize ahead of time. My dude.
I think I got it figured out. I think.
So let's see if we can do this.
We'll see.
Our main protagonist, or at least our number one protagonist that I feel like they're emphasizing the most is Avar Kriss. And she is a Jedi. Avar Kriss is the blonde one, RB3. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah.
Avar Kriss looks like you, Emma Fyffe.
Like me. Mm-hmm. Yep. Totally
she
looks like
actually
me. So.
Looks like you, genuinely.
So Star Wars, I am available to play this character when when this inevitably becomes a film series.
Yeah, I have it on screen.
So this is the description of Avar. Avar is the brightest, most notable example of the Jedihood. She always tries to see the good in people and situations and never puts herself first. She is invigorated about life on the frontier and the challenges it brings, and is inspiration for those who work with her. She is compassionate, not dogmatic, and always ready to sacrifice over others. Avar Kriss is the best of the best. She's a goody two-shoes, Emma. But she's also very compassionate. So what do you think of our protagonist being Avar Kriss?
Well,
or at least one.
I mean, I think that the fact that she is, since, they basically describing her as being this like very bright and noble and has very sort of like a clear ideal of what the Jedi are. I mean, this girl's belief's going to get challenged.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely see her as the one who's like, I don't know if I want to say Obi-Wan, but maybe Obi-Wan, because I still feel like Obi-Wan had a little bit more to him when it comes to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's very anime protagonist.
That's true. She is very, what is it, shonen anime protagonist?
Yeah, she's like a shonen anime protagonist.
Yeah, she's like a shonen boy.
Yep. Yep. But you know what? I like seeing a girl in that role, so I'm with it.
Yeah, that's so true. I didn't even realize that, Emma. You hit it on the head. This is literally like 10 million shonen animes I've seen.
Yep.
But either way, let's move on to Keith Trennis. I don't know if you have this one, RB3. Keith Trennis. I don't know if I'm helping you, bro. I swear I'm trying. I'm trying to give you hints.
Keith is with the robot in the looking in the desert.
It's the woman.
No.
Okay. No, that's not. Okay.
She's the one with the cool haircut. She's the black girl with the cool haircut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, these are all on the first image. These are all on the first.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this all right here. It's all right.
Yeah, she's front and center on that one like comic cover.
Yeah.
So Kyffe is a young firebrand Jedi believed to have a great future ahead of her, only if she would believe it herself. Quick-witted and more impulsive than she should be, Kyffe has only been a Jedi Knight for a few weeks and is a little starstruck around Avar, knowing many great things Chris has done in her past. She's determined to prove herself to Avar and other legendary Jedi stationed on Starlight Beacon, but first she must learn to trust in herself as much as she trusts in the Force. I feel like this is kind of our POV type character.
Okay, sure.
Who's a little bit more bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Right. I was gonna say this is more of your Obi-Wan kind of character, especially if you like read some of the earlier novels about like Master and Apprentice, for example, with like a younger Obi-Wan. And Master and Apprentice is great. If you haven't read it, please read. But yeah, there's a lot of Obi-Wan being like kind of learning to trust in himself, which I'm for.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for her. What I like about these character designs, Emma, is the fact that they kind of went out of their way to specify each and every one of them. I know that's what character designs are, but either way, the fact that they did get two women to be kind of the leads of these stories.
Yeah, Star Wars Thrifting in chat said in the prequels we saw a ton of women Jedi, but they didn't have any dialogue, which you're not wrong. They didn't. They were just there. So yeah, it's freaking time for us to have like a lady Jedi squad. Like it just is.
It really is. And the fact that we do have it in these stories is very exciting for sure. Let's move on to Stellan Gios. I'm not sure. Who seems to be our dude badass, I think is what he's going to play, but let's see what the description says. Stellan Gios is an optimistic and well-respected Jedi Master. Stellan came up through the Order with Avar Kriss, and although they are often on different assignments for the Jedi of the Republic, when the two work together, they are a powerhouse team of two noble heroes in action. Strong in the Force and natural teacher, Stellan is currently stationed at one of the Jedi Temple outposts on a distant planet of Karagon Vinar. That's the other thing too. It's like in the prequels, we had Anakin and Padme. It's this whole forbidden love as far as a politician of the Senate and a Jedi. Like, oh my God, this is wild. But what happens if
Jedi must have no personal connections?
Yeah, but what happens if you're in the Jedi Order?
I think that's
and you meet another girl in the Jedi Order, and you're like, oh, girl, I see you. You can't.
I think that's not allowed, but I don't know.
I know it's not allowed, but it's like heartbreaking.
This is 200 years before.
That's heartbreaking, man.
Yeah.
It's like going to Hogwarts and not being allowed to date anyone at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
How sad is that? That's really sad.
Yeah. I don't want to immediately create a love connection between
I don't either. I'm just saying, like,
especially because like that leans so heavily into being super heteronormative, where it's like, oh, there's a guy character and a girl character, and they've known each other for a long time. They must be in love. So I don't, but at the same time, because of the whole like way things are with the Jedi Order and like a Jedi must not have personal attachments, then we're like, all right, okay, all right, there we go.
Yeah, I don't think that's what they're aiming for based on their description, even though they just said they make a great duo. No. I think it's more like they're two badasses kicking ass.
Yeah. Now, if you want to have there be a little love story between like Avar Kriss and Kyffe Trennis, then I'm with it, Star Wars.
Yeah. It still would be not allowed in the Jedi Order.
Make Star Wars gay.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get to that a little bit later in our episode with Sanastaros. Spoiler alert. But either way, this seems to be another kind of cool, noble Jedi character. I want to finish up with Vernestra Rwoh. She is, I think, the younger one. Let me see. Vern is a newly minted Jedi Knight. There you go. Vernestra is Marillion? Was a Padawan.
Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen. There we Padawan to Stellan Gios. She works hard and is devoted to the Jedi Order and knows more than most others her age. At 16, she is one of the youngest Jedi Knights in a generation. Wow, there you go. She struggles to fit in with adults while also setting a good example for the younger Jedi. So she is featured in a few comics, and she's also featured in a few of the younger aiming stories. I don't know how else to describe those.
Yeah, they're like young adult fiction.
Yeah, so I think she is going to be kind of the tweeners generation POV.
But then when is she going to mature into being everyone's favorite Star Wars character ever, a la Ahsoka Tano? Like, that's
Probably
like the
really
vibe I'm
soon.
getting, you know?
I like that her name is Vernestra.
Vernestra, yeah.
I don't know why I like that so much. It sounds like you could debate as far as, you know, what race that would be and all that, but I could debate that she's like Latina. I could debate that she's, I don't know, she just sounds dope.
I'm trying to think, like, I mean, because she's Mary Ellen, so she's, you know, green.
Yeah. She's like, she looks like Gamora in these pics.
Yes, yeah.
But either way, we have that. I want to finish up with, we have a Trandoshan Jedi, Emma Fyffe.
Yes, I know.
A Trandoshan Jedi. His name is Skier with 2 S's, which means he has a lisp. Like, I can imagine him saying his name and it has that classic Trandoshan lisp, which is even more badass. Homies with a lisp, big homies with a lisp. You know, he kicks ass. But I wanted to give a highlight to him. We also have a Twi'lek Jedi. His name is Loden Greatstorm. Shout out to him as well. All these characters look really cool. Their designs look really cool. The designs of the Space Vikings, I don't know if you got a chance to see those, look incredible. I really like their kind of Mad Max Fury Road type look.
Yeah, it's dope.
They really do look like War Boys and Immortan Joe. But it looks like a really cool group of characters, a great cast, and something that I could see. This is going to our full Sabacc now. At least I think it is. Something I could see be live action. So let's go to full Sabacc.
Full Sabacc.
Live action, The High Republic. Is this Star Wars setting the ground for a live action adaptation of these stories, Emma Fyffe, considering that we have this crazy array of characters, diverse looks, diverse voices, 2 women. One of them is clearly a woman of color. The other one is green. But either way, we have different voices, different stories in a different era. Can this be the new live action adaptations for Star Wars?
My answer is yes. But it's not movies. It's going to be a TV series. Especially given the fact that Disney recently announced their sort of change in terms of strategy to focus more on streaming. This is a perfect TV series, you know, especially because they are going to have the room to experiment with it a little bit in terms of having a nice collection of novels, graphic novels, comic books, etc., to pull from. I think that they are setting themselves up to do an adaptation of that material, like, say, Netflix did an adaptation of the Witcher novels, you know, but it'll just be Star Wars.
Here's my second question to you, Emma.
Yes.
Was this is all pure speculation, right? Which is what full Sabacc is.
Right.
Was this what Benioff and Weiss were working on? Was it a potential adaptation of this versus what a lot of people thought they were doing of Knights of the Old Republic?
Well, if Benioff and Weiss were to do an adaptation of this, so long as they don't run out of material that they didn't personally come up with creatively, they'll be fine.
That's going to be hard with a new series like this, but
yeah,
I kind of want to agree with you, but I don't, if I'm being honest, just because I really feel like they're saving the TV stuff
to be totally separate.
I think they're saving the TV stuff for people like Afra or people like, but when it comes to Jedis, when it comes to like, there's 20 Jedis just kicking ass. I think if I'm an executive, I'm saying I want to see that on the big screen. I want to see, and if anything like Dr. Aphra, anything like Mandalorians, anything like Bounty Hunters,
Yeah.
I'm cool with being on the small screen. When it comes to an Old Republic, an Order of Jedi, hundreds of Jedi kicking ass, I want to see that on the big screen. I think they are. I think they are potentially waiting on the response of people's enjoyment of these books to see if they adapt it. I think 100%, it's an experiment.
Yeah, it's totally an experiment. At this point, I don't think they have any particular plans to do anything with it beyond exactly what they're doing, which is creating this rich pool of material. I honestly think what's more likely going to come out of this is just more stuff like this, so that when they do come around and are like, all right, we want to make another film, or, oh, you know what? It is time for us to do another series because Mandalorian's done, Obi-Wan is done. I still really am excited about the Obi-Wan series.
Obi-Wan, that's another one. Cassian
Andor, yeah.
Stuff like that, I feel
exactly.
kids though.
So I think that it's more likely this is going to be its own thing completely, at least for a while. I'm sure that there are people out there that are working on the project in various capacities saying like, no, it's not going to be a TV show, blah, blah, blah. It's just this thing. Because yes, right now it is just this thing. But also if Lucasfilm thinks they can make more money off of it because people like it, they're going to do that. Like,
yes, they are. I could definitely see this being adapted. My biggest question, if I'm being honest, Emma, is what is Taika doing? Like, what is he working on? What is that script? The writer of 1917 with Taika Waititi, what are they working on? Like, I'm genuinely curious if it's just what Taika and her came up with. Apologies, I forget her name. Is it a story they came up with? Is it this? Is it that? To me is kind of the biggest question when it comes to the Star Wars films, because that's the only officially launched thing that they're kind of sticking by. So that would be my question as far as going full Sabacc on this. I still don't know what that is, and that's why I'm hesitant to go full Sabacc on this being
so Christy Wilson Cairns, who's the writer,
that's her name.
She also worked on Penny Dreadful. So I'm like, that sort of weird horror with...
And she's also doing an Edgar Wright film, I believe.
I believe so.
Yeah, so she's good. Like, she's definitely talented. Oscar nominated.
Yes, she is in fact working on Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho, which is a psychological horror film. There you go. So like, dude...
She can write. Like, she's a badass.
Give me like... her and Taika doing like a weird Star Wars horror one-off, I'm in.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely do feel like sky's the limit for what they can make, considering that, you know, creativity is up to them. So yeah, I'm curious for sure. I definitely want to see. I'm definitely curious about the High Republic in general. I'm definitely going to be tuning in and reading everything they put out. So. Yeah, those are our thoughts for sure. Brendan Devine in the chat says, Ace, could a big screen, tons of Jedi kicking butt be a Bane era type thing with a war between the Army of Light and the Brotherhood of the Sith? No. Yeah. I still, everyone wants to see that. And because everyone wants to see that, I just think they're not going to do it. I just don't know. I mean, I would love that. But again, that was like a potentially something that Benioff and Wise could have been working on. Potentially. Which is also just rumors. But I think they're stepping away from that, if I'm being real honest. I think that's just me vibing. I'm basing this off of nothing. But I just don't think they're necessarily going with that kind of era of Star Wars. But we are going to move on to our POC Spotlight. Every week we want to spotlight character of color inside the Star Wars universe. This week, Emma, I'm crossing my fingers that you know a little bit about Sana Starros. We spoke about Dr. Aphra last week. Right. So I thought it fitting to put in Sana Starros as our POC spotlight. She's a character that has appeared in the comics quite a bit. She's a character that has appeared in Dr. Aphra's stories quite a bit, specifically in a lot of her stories. Sana Starros is a newer character. She first got her appearance by having that Solo twist as far as them being married and all that, which ended up just
yes.
You remember that? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, so she has a really cool personality. She's also super smart, really cool look. I don't know if you have any if you followed Son of Star Wars at all, or if you're familiar with her at all.
I'm definitely not as familiar with this character. I do remember the Han Solo marriage sham bit for sure.
Yes.
But you know, I love a woman of color in Star Wars who, like, again, similar to Dr. Aphra, has like a very independent personality and is just taking care of shit on her own.
Yeah, that's kind of what she is too. And obviously there is I'm going to tease this a little bit. There is a connection between Dr. Aphra and Son of Star Wars, a pretty strong connection. RB3 is posting the images right now, which is kind of pretty significant considering you just mentioned Keeve and Avar potentially being that.
Yes.
But they actually do that in the comics. RB3 has the image up right now. They have a complicated relationship, but a relationship nonetheless. So that counts as something for sure. So I wanted to give that shout out to Son of Star Wars. But now we've come to our conclusion, which is my favorite segment. And it's because I created it, and I think it's fun. But I don't know if you got a chance. Yeah, well, not yet, RB3, because we're going to go to Squad Up with Squad Leader Race. Real quick, I want to do this because Emma is here, and I think this one's a fun one because it's so different, Emma.
Okay, I'm ready.
I don't know if you've read it at all. If you haven't, it's even better because I get to get your genuine reaction to it.
Okay.
RB3 has the music queued up. Squad Up with Squad Leader Race. Everyone in the chat, get ready to pick your all-star Star Wars lineup. We have a little bit of some constraints this week.
Okay.
But let me put out the scenario for anyone who is watching right now or anyone who's even watching this on replay. So you are a representative of the Galactic Senate during the Clone Wars. So you are active in the Clone Wars, and you are tasked with brokering a deal with the ruler of a small planet, hoping to use it as a base for resources and fuel. This will serve as an outpost for a division of the clone army and will be crucial in the defeat of the Separatists. The planet has been neutral during the war, but the ruler has been known to speak ill of the aggressive Republic. In order for this deal to succeed, you will need these 4 things.
Okay.
There are 4 things. You would need a fellow delegate of the Galactic Senate, someone you trust who can find a diplomatic solution to any problem.
Okay.
So you're looking for a good talker, someone who works with you in the Senate, and someone you trust during the Clone Wars.
Okay.
You will also need a Jedi to accompany you on this mission. They should be a Jedi who can find a peaceful solution, but is also ready for any hostility that may arise. Third thing, you will need a trusty creature to ride on. Since the terrain is incredibly rough and the location of the ruler's home is remote, you will need a creature that you can ride on and rely on. And finally, you're going to bring a gift to present to the ruler.
Gift.
Any gift that you can imagine. Something to show him that you have nothing but respect for him and his planet. So once again, guys, the 4 things you are bringing in order for this mission to succeed is a fellow delegate of the Republic, a Jedi, a creature to ride on, which there's actually a lot in the Star Wars universe. There's quite a bit because I've researched this and I was like, there's plenty. So hopefully you guys can figure it out. And then finally, a gift of your choosing. Anything you want to just give to this guy and show him that you mean business. Emma Fyffe, you have the number 1 pick.
I do?
Who are you selecting? Yeah, you have the number 1 pick. You're going to have the number 1 pick every week.
A delegate in the Galactic Senate.
Yes, so someone who's good at talking.
Yeah, I've made a decision.
Okay.
And I am going to choose Senator Bail Organa.
Oh! Yeah, you're choosing my Latino homie, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey.
I mean, you want to talk about somebody that's just like, he's like down for whatever. He is he's just a real team player, Bail Organa. You know what I mean? Like he's right there with you, and he wouldn't try to take charge if it wasn't his place to do so. He'd be like, yo, whatever you need, I got you. Like, that is Bail Organa. Like, that truly is what Bail Organa is. He's he's like constantly being like, I'm here to support and I'm going to defer to other people, but like, I'm a solid dude. So I'm going Bail Organa for my fellow senator.
Great choice, because I low-key wanted to pick Bail too, so you took mine because he is my fellow Latino. And also, I'm laughing because Bradley Burnett in the chat said, Adello Feligate, which is a line from, I believe it's either Attack of the Clones of Revenge of Sith with Jar Jar Binks. Instead of saying fellow delegate, he says, Adello Feligate.
Yes.
Which made me laugh so hard. I don't know why. Jar Jar.
But yeah.
He's there too if you want to pick Jar Jar.
Yeah, I'm a pass on Jar Jar, but thank you for the recommendation.
Anyone in the chat right now, sound off on who are you picking as a representative of the Galactic Senate. RB3, you are a part of Squad Up with Squad Leader Race. You have to pick a politician, bro. We have AOC live twitching right now, competing with us.
Oh my God.
So you got to pick your own AOC to bring along in this meeting.
Well, to be honest, I really didn't prepare. So I'm gonna just pick the first politician I know, and that's Padme. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's a great choice.
Yeah, I mean, she knows how to fight. She knows what's going on in the galaxy. So I gotta support that for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Padme's a really good choice.
That's a great one. Man, part of me wants to just like explode the chat and just pick Jar Jar.
You can, Ace, live your dream.
Part of me is also like, man, there's some other guys in Clone Wars, but they're all just average compared to all these people. You know what? Yeah. I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the Gungans. I'm doing it for the Nubians. Shout out to Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks is my representative for this mission, which means we're going back to you, Emma Fyffe.
Okay.
You have the number 2 choice.
Okay, my number 2 choice. Okay, I have decided on my trusty creature.
Oh, yes. We need this.
And I would like to choose a creature recently made famous by its appearance in season 1 of The Mandalorian, and that is a blurg. Okay, here's why. Blurgs, they're very easy to transport. They are not that big, but they're solid. And like, if you're just like one with them and you just like put good energy out, like they're down to like take you where you need to go. And also I feel like they would be good on a variety of terrain, even though they their natural habitat is clearly the desert. But again, they're not that big, so anything they came up against wouldn't necessarily be too unwieldy for them.
That's a great choice, Blurg. Obviously, I also want to hear the chat sound off as far as what creature you guys would choose, as far as what you're going to ride on. Your trusty creature, Mr. RB3. What are you picking?
Well, I'm gonna go with it's called a tauntaun, right? That's what.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah.
Look at that, bro.
That's
tauntaun. You know, if you're ever cold, you can open them up. Let the intestines flow on you.
Yeah, just get right inside of it. I love it.
Yeah, that's a great choice.
Cuddle inside of a tauntaun. Known for the cuddling. Shout out to the tauntaun. That's a good one, RB3.
Thank you.
I have a lot of choices, and there's a lot of stuff in my head. I could pick the Fathiar from The Last Jedi. They're fast. They're reliable.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I could pick a Loth Wolf for anyone in the chat. Ride on a good old-fashioned Loth Wolf. But I'm going to go with what my boy Obi-Wan was riding on Utapau, and that is the Varactyl.
The Varactyl, yeah.
Boga the Varactyl, or as the guys from Aeronauts call him, Chicken Lizard. Shout out to Chicken Lizard. I'm picking a Varactyl. He gives a good warrior's cry as he's riding along. That's my choice, is a good old-fashioned Varactyl.
Okay.
So now we are picking our Jedis if you want, or you can pick a gift.
No, I have selected the Jedi.
Okay.
With whom I would like to go on this mission, and it is Mace Windu.
Ooh, going with an aggressive approach.
Yeah, well, again, I got Bail Organa with me to just like keep everything on the level. And Mace Windu, like, you know, if shit goes down, like, he's going to spring into action. He going to be here for you. And also, if we got to play hardball with these people at all, you definitely want somebody like a Mace Windu who is just not going to break or bend under any circumstances.
That's a great choice. Mace is definitely you're definitely mean business if you bring him along. We mean you're bringing the number 2 Jedi in the entire galaxy.
Exactly right.
He definitely intimidating for sure. That's an intimidating lineup so far from you, Emma. I definitely want to hear what you guys are bringing. Someone said Palpatine in the chat for a representative. That's a great one too.
I thought about that.
He's good at talking. He's good at talking.
I thought about that. He's good.
He's persuasive.
Yeah, it's persuasive. Yeah, exactly. It's funny because there's also E.T. right, who makes that cameo in the or I guess the E.T. aliens, right? So that could have been another.
I just imagine you just picking the E.T. aliens in the background.
Yeah, but
that's a funny one.
Speaking on Mace Windu, though, we did the Inner Geekdom show yesterday with Winston Marshall, and we had Alex Damon on, Star Wars Explained. And a commenter actually gave a really amazing pitch as to why he thinks Mace Windu should be the villain in an Obi-Wan series. Because after it could be he comes back after from being burnt up, comes back trying to annihilate the Jedi. I love it. But that'd be a good idea. But my Jedi that I would pick personally gotta be Yoda. I mean, Yoda is the OG.
Good call.
And he can still get down even at his age. So you gotta get that wisdom, gotta get that knowledge in there. So that'll be my Jedi.
Yeah,
that's a great choice. Obviously, I definitely want to hear more of you guys in the chat. Go ahead and sound off. Pick your lineup. Let us know what each individual choice you would have. We are picking a representative of the Senate, a Jedi, a trusty creature to ride on, and a gift for this ruler of this small planet. I'm picking my Jedi, and I'm going with the obvious choice. I'm surprised you guys didn't pick this ahead of me. I got my number 1 pick for my Jedi. I'm going with the negotiator, Obi-Wan Kenobi. The number 1 man himself, the best Jedi in all the galaxy, my favorite Star Wars character. Obi-Wan is still on the board, and I'm taking him. Taking him right up.
I'm a big
fan. Who better to be a really, really good talker and be a badass who can fight off anything pretty much. That is Obi-Wan Kenobi to the T. So that is my choice for my Jedi.
Okay.
So I think I have everything except for the gift. The gift is the hardest one, right? Because anything, technically you could pick anything as a gift and just call it a gift.
Yeah.
Or you could pick actual items inside the Star Wars universe. You could just imagine a scenario where you just happen upon this item. So Emma, do you have a gift for this ruler?
I have chosen a gift for this ruler.
Ooh.
Okay, again, I'm coming in hot with my squad. We're rolling up on our blurgs. Me, Bail Organa, Mace Windu. You know we mean business. You know how we're really going to throw this ruler off? When we present them with their gift of a Tuca. Now, a Tuca is in the same family as the Loth cat, but it's smaller and more oftenly domesticated. Oftenly is not a word, but I just made it up. So what better way to say, like, hey, we come in peace than here's this adorable little cat creature that also is a very good hunter and will keep your home free of pests. So we want to make your life more pleasant by keeping it hassle-free. So if you ally yourself with us in this struggle, we're going to keep those pesky separatists away from you and crush.
Yep, that's a great choice. I love the idea of just presenting an animal because that's classic, right? Yeah. That's really like old school, old-timey period. You could even be like, hey, here's my Tauntaun. Here's my
I mean, we could just give them our blurgs if they really want to play hardball.
Yep, that's a great choice. Obviously, you can imagine, for anyone in the chat who's struggling to find a gift, just imagine anything that you could possibly give inside the Star Wars universe. It could be a classic blaster. It could be an old school lightsaber.
Right. It could just be Jar Jar Binks.
It could be Jar Jar Binks. It could be credits. Lots and lots of it. Pretty much sky's the limit for a gift. So let us know what you guys would pick as that. I can't lie. Part of me is like, as far as representatives, I could imagine RB3 being like, yo, I pick Lot Dodd. Give me the Pneumonians.
Who's La Dot? I'm not sure who
Yeah,
La Dot is.
there you go. Yeah, the Nemodians from the Senate.
I love it.
But either way, RB3, you're up with the gift, man. What are you going to present to this ruler who's expecting you?
My gift will be one round trip, all expense paid for journey to Canto Bight.
That's a great.
That's amazing. That's perfect.
Yeah, have
That's
some fun.
incredible.
They could gamble a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
What does Canto Bight look like in this era? Since we're like prequels, Clone Wars era, what's going on?
I mean,
at
I'm sure
Canto
it's still rich, right? They have plenty of money.
It looked classic. It looked like they had like that old money, you know. And,
yeah.
so
It's
I'm sure
all the
still
like
around.
old school casinos. Yeah.
Do you get any pork chips? Any chips that are added on this trip? Like, do they get to have chips that?
Well, yeah, I mean, all expenses paid. You know, I mean, I don't know how much they're willing to
Hotel
throw away,
room,
but
all
hotel
that?
room, all of that. But no parking violations. They can park wherever they want.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be all
Shout out to the Last Jedi. Parking violations.
Parking on Canto Bight is it's rough. So
Everyone
that's
knows that.
Honestly, really
Hey.
generous. RB3.
It got Rose and Finn locked up. So
True.
definitely watch where you park your shuttle.
Yep.
Shout out to Slow and Low. The guy's a snitch. Always snitching. JGL. Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing that character.
That's a good one.
No, he actually did. That's Last Jedi. Joseph Gordon-Levitt played Slow and Low.
See,
The
Move
guy
trivia
who was
schmo
like,
down.
those guys had a parking violation. That's JGL. That's a great choice, man. Canto Bight. All expenses paid.
Yep.
This is like what's that show? The one that
the
you
Wheel of Fortune.
not Wheel of Fortune, the other one.
Price is Right.
Price is Right. Yes.
That's it.
I always like that part in The Price is Right when they're like, an all expenses paid trip to Hawaii. And they do that. It's incredible. I'm picking the most obvious choice, and I'm surprised you guys didn't say this as a gift. I mean, my representative, the homie, Jar Jar Binks, the GOAT, homie's got the hookups. And part of going with Jar Jar Binks comes with the hookups of the most precious gift in the galaxy, or at least one of the most precious gifts in the galaxy, and something that shows you mean business and you mean peace. And that is the Globe of Peace at the end of The Phantom Menace. The final line of the movie, when Boss Nass raises the Globe of Peace and goes, peace. I'm getting Jar some way.
Sure.
Jar Jar found a way to bring it along, and I convinced him to give it to this ruler.
But what does the Globe of Peace do? Because RB3 is offering a nice vacation.
Sure.
I'm offering a lifelong adorable friend.
I'm offering something that signifies peace to the T. I'm offering something that even like Jar Jar Binks is gonna get in trouble for bringing along. I'm like, dude, I know this means a lot to your people and to the planet of Naboo, but do you mind just giving it away to this random guy just so we can use his planet? That is my choice. It is the Globe of Peace. I definitely want to read your guys' options in the chat. But as we do, or as I look them up, Emma, want to run down your final squad to bring on this mission?
Yeah, so my final squad is going to be me with Mace Windu. Again, very serious. We definitely mean business. We can F-shiz up if necessary. But I also got Bail Organa with me, the ultimate bro, the ultimate support role, the ultimate, like, I do whatever you need me to do. Like, I believe in you and your abilities, but like, I'm here to back you up if you need me. We riding up on some blurgs because we don't know what this territory is going to be like. And I'm telling you, blurgs are versatile. And when we arrive, this intimidating, scary looking squad, we are going to present this leader with a tiny, adorable cat-like creature whom they can love forever, and will also control the pest population at their palace.
That's
assuming
great.
They live in a palace.
RB3, what's your squad, man?
For my squad, I got to go with the one and only Yoda as our Jedi leader, leading us with the negotiations. Got to go with riding on a Tauntaun, of course, classic OG. Then, of course, my oh shucks, I am already forgetting. Let me look in the list again.
It's a gift.
The gift is an all expense paid trip to Canto Bight, of course, and the delegate is of course, Padme. Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, it's a whole squad right there. That's a good negotiating team, I think. So
that's a great team. I want to read some squads up in the chat. Bradley Burnett says Bail Organa, Kiadi Mundi, the Varactyl. That's the one he took.
Okay, yeah, you said Varactyl.
And he said he's stuck on the gift. So that's either way, it's a good lineup. Jason Polensky says E.T. the Asogian, Qui-Gon, a Dewback, and a Kyber Crystal.
Dewback's a good call. Yeah.
Kino Correct says Palpatine, a Tauntaun, Mace Windu, and a Kyber Crystal. Palpatine and Mace. Can't imagine that working out.
Nope.
It's like bringing Palpatine and it's like bringing Mace and Anakin. That would have been funny.
Yeah.
I was gonna say too, we do have some in the Streamlabs. Contributed in peace. People, remember, if you want to support this show and keep it running and support the creators, please donate. firstcut.live. It's in the top of the description, and I'm putting it in the chat. But first of all, we do have a robot and a very generous donation being read right now. Oops, sorry. Let me try that one more time. Wasn't coming through all that clear. My bad. And here we go. All right.
For the Jedi, I choose Rey.
Sorry. Take 3. Anyway, I'm just gonna read another one from Bradley Burnett, who says there's so many good EU/Legend characters. Who would make canon? Maybe in a limited series. I pick Qui-Gon Voss. Also, then Pencils and Parsecs kind of become canon when there was a Cara clone cameo in The Mandalorian. That's my theory. I butchered that name. I'm so sorry.
Kilara. It's cool.
Kilara.
That was me. That was my character.
Okay. Hey, okay. I love it. And then also here's our other donation. Oh, is it playing now?
It says sharing computer audio.
Oh, here we go. This is awesome radio, everybody. Amazing.
Well, if not, to answer the question, any characters and legends you want to see, Emma?
I mean, so I really liked the video game Star Wars Masters of Terracasi.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, it's canon. Terrace Kasi. Shout out to Solo.
Yeah. But so like Mara Jade was a playable character in that. And
everyone loves Mara Jade.
Like she's a character that people have a lot of sort of love for.
Yes.
But there was another Arden Lin, that was the other girl in that game, who I don't really think got too much aside from like being a character in that game. I'm sure she was in some EU novel, but like, just give me all the ladies.
Yeah, that's a great choice.
Yeah, and like give me like Revan and Malik for real.
Teamer 23 donated $50.
There it is.
Hey yo, this is my first time tuning in. I've been catching up on the previous Sabacc the Block episodes. For the politician, I choose Senator Mon Mothma. For the creature I'd ride on, I choose the Great Mythosaurus. For the Jedi, I choose Rey.
That's great.
I considered Mon Mothma. I strongly considered Mon Mothma.
That's a great choice. I still love the idea of Rey being in the Clone Wars. It's like, yo, who's this Jedi? That's great choices. Also, RB3, let me know if you also have any others, because there's more in the chat as well.
No, there's not any more. But again, people, firstcut.live. We could definitely use your support, and that'll be a great way to get your voice heard on the show. And $10 plus donations will be read out loud by the robot.
Yeah.
Brandon Devine says Padme, Obi-Wan, Varactyl, and the Malorian fruit.
The Meluron fruit. Yeah.
Meluron fruit.
That was
as
in
his
Star
choice.
Wars Rebels.
And then JJ Winward says Padme, Obi-Wan, Blurg, and a nice bottle of wine. That's a good one.
JJ, I love that. That's great.
I was gonna say Dornish wine, but this is that's a different universe.
Just keeping it on the level. Just a bottle of wine. Everyone loves a bottle of wine.
Yeah, that's a good way to show you mean business.
Yeah.
Be like, what's up, man? I came here with a bottle of wine. A lot of people are commenting on my Globe of Peace choice. Some people not cool with it. Some people like it. I think it's cool. I thought of it right away, but again, you could make anything a gift and say it's a gift. I could have given my Varactyl away and just be like, hey, this is a gift.
True.
Yeah. I think it's hysterical that there's so many choices you can pick on as far as riding creatures.
Yes.
I just think
there are a lot of creatures you can ride in Star Wars, it turns out.
There's a ton of creatures you can ride in Star Wars.
That's what I need. I need like an open world Star Wars RPG where it's just like any creature can be your horse if you need them to be.
Yes, that's kind of the theme throughout each and every Star Wars movie, and I think it's hysterical and awesome. Yeah, alrighty, guys. Bradley Burnett says a gift of a porg. It could be a fun pet or maybe tasty dinner. I hit a chord there. Yeah, that went dark real quick, Emma.
Friends,
Chewy,
not food.
Chewy approves. Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Let's RB3, any other questions?
No other questions on the Streamlabs. Thank you so much for watching today, guys.
Yeah, this was great.
Kino Correct says, I will send support as soon as the economy gets better here in Colombia. Shout out to Colombia.
Yeah, much love to you.
Bogota. I got family all over that country because that's my family's country.
Yeah.
Either way, much love to all you guys. Thank you for tuning in to the second episode of Sabacc the Block. Thank you, Emma, for joining me once again.
Of course,
that was a lot of fun.
I love the squad up segment. It's so fun.
It's really fun. Yeah, and I definitely wanted to go different this week. So I was like, let's do a talking one.
That was fun. It
We're
was
just
great.
talking. But either way, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Sabacc the Block episode 2. Make sure you tune in next week for episode 3. And remember, if you're gonna play the game, play it. It's all good, RB3. We got it. We'll get the sound bit.
I got it. Yeah, that one. I did play it, but since the music is lowered, it's on the same thing. So I gotta add it to my phone. But we'll figure it out next.
Fair and square, baby. Fair and square. Peace out, guys.
Bye.